Okay, so I was...
Thanks for tuning in, folks.
Thanks for tuning in. We saw the... Is it brighter than usual? Maybe it's just earlier than usual.
You're a little bit hungover, aren't you?
Had the big... Hardly. Trump...
That would be me if it were the case.
Trump had the big rally in New Jersey.
My boy!
You saw... Well, anyway, the AP, Associated Press, was reporting 80 to 100,000 people.
Is that AP?
That's what it is.
Oh.
Associated Press has reported 80,000 to 100,000 people. And of course, all these people came out like on Reddit or Never Trumpers, like, it's not 80,000, it's more like 30,000 or 40,000.
It's like 78.4.
You know, whatever, they're all splitting hairs and everything. The point of the story is that was a heck of a lot of people to have there in New Jersey, which is a blue state, right?
It's a completely blue state.
So since '88, they've got
to be freaking out.
Yeah, they haven't voted for a Republican president since 1988.
Was that the case?
Yeah, that's the case.
88. I thought it would be further back than that. But go ahead.
And in 2020, went to Biden by 16 points. So it was just kind of interesting the draw that he has in that state, and it kind of can't be ignored anymore, certainly by the administration, the White House these days. It's like, what are they going to do about this? Because this guy is really, in the middle of his trials and all this kind of thing, he's out there pulling in these kinds of numbers, regardless if it's 40,000 or 50,000.
Everybody's feeling the jab of liberal policies.
Rather than the jab of the COVID vaccine. Or maybe they both go hand in glove.
That's the scamdemic, you mean?
Don't get George started, okay?
Already, it's a little bit early. But I mean, the when the crowd screamed, that was awesome.
I didn't, I just see extras.
Did you put it on there when I sent it in, or did you already have it?
I don't have that. Oh, what you sent me this morning? No, I just kind of looked at it this morning. You sent it last night, but yeah, it was interesting, and
he's like everything.
It's like, as you know, it's like I feel like
I didn't watch it anyway.
He kind of gets there and wades through it, and he's and does
I don't
all this.
know why you have a problem with that. It's funny.
It's okay. I'm giving you that latitude. But
I'm in good humor here today
because the point of the story.
I'm actually giving ice cream bars out.
Where we good humor man.
Yes.
Is that it's. The draw of him just can't be ignored any longer. And any time that the administration now, the DNC, sends out Biden to do anything, he kind of stumbles over himself. And like I said,
what do you mean now?
Okay, it's been the case for 20 years. He's been doing,
Well, he's a pathological liar, so it doesn't. Anyway, but that's a side point.
Well, I have compassion for Biden because I don't think he really knows what he's doing.
I mean, never did until he's senile. Like now he's an old man. I feel bad for berating him.
Yeah,
but.
Well, because now you're seeing, this is why.
But screw it. I mean, whether you're in that position, you're going to take the blows.
So before you just thought he was just kind of a buffoon and you didn't like him, but now you think it's driven by his dementia and his senility.
I loathe him, but I feel bad getting mad at him, because he can't help it. He doesn't know what he's doing. But then he just lies through his teeth.
Okay,
anyway,
well,
that's changing subject on you.
It's okay because they're in a tough spot, right? They need to figure out how are they going to get, because they don't have a message.
Trump's like debate.
The only message is that
he's like.
The only message that they have is that Trump is going to kill democracy with a shot to the head,
which is what they're doing right now.
I understand, and yes, and I concur with that. Because no one we talked about this before. No one is going to take us.
We talked about this before.
Take us the steps through
on 2 speed.
Exactly. How is Trump going to
He's
overcome
not. Mass deportation with illegals? Oh, geez, he's following the law.
Okay, well, anyway, the point, what I was getting really to with this is the fact that I was very surprised to see that how much of the Gen Xers are voting for are fans of Trump. I was very, very surprised. Now, this is the 18 to 29 group, which we see right now protesting on campuses, which is a small schism, apparently, of that generation.
Schism or scasm?
It's not scasm, I can assure you that.
Or schism, or spasm.
You think of or chasm.
Hey, do you think it's strictly because Biden is so old and he obviously looks feeble and senile and oatmeal brains. I mean, but
you just can't resist it.
no,
It's a strong.
it's just too obvious.
Maybe there's some walnuts and raisins.
So that's why I feel bad. See, because I throw out the jab, but I mean, it's like, you know, if you're in a sparring match, you feel bad after for knocking some guy out.
Well, what do you think? Why are they so inclined to go for Trump? Because
that's the only reason I can think. They're not smart enough to know the policies. You know, they don't follow the policies. I mean, that's pretty general. That's a very general statement, but you know, I would say most of them, predominantly most of them. But it wasn't in that poll. It was
60
college educated.
I don't know if they're college educated.
I think it was.
It was a Harvard Capps Harris poll,
and that's what freaks me out, because they're indoctrinated, yet they still are going for Trump. So maybe they are paying attention to the.
Well, and again, remember, it's like what you're seeing on the campuses that we take.
As well. Sorry.
That's a small percentage of that generation that is. Most of the percentage of that population, of that generation, I should say, doesn't approve of that activity.
But converse to that, 60% of them want socialism. So I don't get it.
It is, well, then that is a discrepancy and incongruent, and for sure. But the point is that 64% of Gen Z voters approved of Trump's presidency. So 64%, which we're not led to believe that now by left or the right, because it looks like everybody is.
You don't have to hide your Trump support anymore, Tim.
No, I'm.
I'm teasing. Okay, let's be clear here. Go ahead.
Let's be clear about my fandom of Trump, and as Jordan knows, it's extremely limited and narrow. But anyway, their biggest political priorities of this generation include strong economic policies, border security, free speech, and concerns over division. So these are all very, very valid concerns.
Top of the ballot questions.
But it's interesting that they think Trump can handle all of these things better. In fact, there was a poll about
Oh my God! Go ahead. I can't wait to hear this one.
How much more that? Well, first of all, only 2% of the general population and of the voting population, and 4% of Gen Xers feel that the situation in Gaza and Israel right now is one of the top priorities. Only 4%. So it's not really a big deal. There, most people are the economy and the border, obviously.
Yeah,
as you can suspect. But what's interesting is I think it was like, and I'm sorry, I'm referring to it, like 58% over 35% feel that Trump can handle the situation in Gaza and Israel better than Biden.
Biden can't handle his bowl of cereal in the morning. I mean, come on.
Well, he uses one of those big spoons with the big
sucky cup
with the big handles now, I think, or whatever. Anyway.
Oh my God! Did you just do an insult, Tim?
Well, I'm just listen again. It comes out of compassion.
You're so mean, Tim.
It comes out of compassion.
Oh, it does. Oh, they got him a geriatric spoon at it because they felt compassionate.
He obviously should not.
Then don't be leading the kind. Yeah, right. It just goes down to that. I mean, if he was, you know, you got any people who know me who may happen to watch this, all two of you.
Yeah.
If I worked in a retirement home, or you know, I'm a very compassionate guy. I mean, if I would see Joe Biden, he wasn't president, and I would like, oh, here, let me give you this. You know, he'd be my buddy.
He would be your buddy.
They'd be my buddy. Everybody's my buddy. But if he's running for president, man, no. I mean, if he is president, no.
And just to say that the handling of the conflict is actually 52% for Trump and 28% for Biden.
Say that again?
52% for Trump, 28% for Biden in how well they could handle the conflict happening in Israel and Gaza at this time.
That's huge.
It's a pretty big swing, and it's like
especially for 18 to 29.
Yes, that's my.
I know, but I mean, you said it was that, but I didn't know like it was to 20. I thought it was 52% to maybe to 48%. You know?
Yeah, right. You thought it was a lot closer.
I thought it was a lot closer.
Well, it's curious because you know this is a segment of the population, and a lot of these guys, you know, they're 18 to 29, and they're going to become eligible to vote. This is going to be their first election coming up in 2024. And so Trump, if the RNC had it,
they're through the COVID.
They need to go after these guys.
They lived through the COVID era, and they're like, "Fuck that." Sorry.
Well, maybe that's part of it. You're right. That's
right. Could be part of it. It may be part of it.
That could be part of it. Who really knows? But anyway, it's just kind of interesting because, again, getting back to the gigantic crowd, whether it's 40, 50, 70, 80, 100,000 people, who knows?
Dude, and he goes, when he says that, and then if anything they touch goes to.
Yeah.
The whole crowd, shit. Oh, it's just awesome.
Well,
that's impromptu.
What I like to see out of that is that Trump actually said, "But you're not supposed to say."
But he was totally joking.
The S word. I guess he was kind of joking. But
you're not supposed to say that kind of word. You're not supposed to say shit.
Anyway,
you know what? He's funny.
Well,
I don't care how you look at him. He's funny.
Whatever you want to say, the point is that he's reaching people.
Like when, yeah,
And
100%.
And Biden,
well, go ahead.
Biden is not reaching people.
Well, Biden's reaching scratching his noogies, a noogie. But like when he was introduced, Lawrence Taylor and who's the other football player, and he gets on the stage. He's just so. Look at those guys. How would you like to have your job to be to tackle that guy? Ooh, he's funny as hell.
Yeah, okay, and I get it.
He's very.
I get it. He speaks as if he's a man of the people, even though he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. That's the reality, and people find something about him that they can relate to, and he's addressing a lot of people's major concerns. The thing is, he's coming out of like this dark horse. He's not even a dark horse anymore because he's leading in all these swing state polls.
And everybody's saying that the polls, if they are what they are, and that we all know how much you should pay attention to polls, but even if they manipulated the election like they did in 2020, it's like the difference in the polls is almost covers for election fraud.
So that's an interesting thought. I just want everyone to be aware of. Don't forget to tune in after the election, because if Trump loses, you're just going to watch somebody's head just absolutely just spin right.
Come on in here. We'll show you who it's going to be. Come on in.
Okay, that was fun.
Yeah,
but also on a quick note is that he also said, what did he say? That the great, wonderful man, I don't know the euphemisms he used to describe Hannibal Lecter when he was up there.
Because that's his sense of humor. That wonderful man, Hannibal Lecter, and he's just funny. He's just funny.
Okay, you're seeing it as funny. I'm kind of seeing it.
No, he's actually. I think he's going to have a Hannibal Lecter day, Tim.
Is he?
I mean, come on.
I think he's going to appoint Hannibal Lecter as like
common sense and senses of humor.
Health and human
are just lost.
Resources or whatever it is.
I mean, if somebody else said that, you would know. But because Trump said that,
you got to take it. You're taking it.
You're taking it like as verbatim. Did you check the
face value? You mean?
Did fact checkers and factcheck.org and all those liberal fact check sites did they fact check that? Hannibal Lecter is not. That was a lie. Hannibal Lecter is not an honorable man.
I don't think quite like that, but
that's kind of like.
But of course,
that's kind of like how the avenue you were going, like, oh my God, how ridiculous.
No, I just thought it was kind of
funny.
I find it amusing.
I got him to say it.
But it's like when you read it in text form, I didn't hear him say it. When you read about it,
because in text form I could hear it.
They pull it for the headlines. You kind of look at it like, what? What was he implying here?
What?
So that's what they do.
What periodical?
I don't remember all of them. What are you talking about?
No, because it shifts in the written form. It shifts from one to another.
Okay, but I'm pivoting here.
Pivoting. Okay. But if you heard it, I'm just saying real quickly.
That's right. If you heard it,
it is hysterical. He's like, well, you remember that guy, Hannibal Lecter? He was a great guy, and it's just so sarcastic. But like the media,
right? They
play it verbatim as fact.
Take it as a headline, right?
He thinks he's this. It's like he's a Nazi.
I didn't hear him say
he's a racist. He's a Nazi. He's a xenophobe. He's a homophobe. He's a xenophobe. He's a. Go ahead, Tim. He's no more phobes.
That was a slow motion hand slam.
So,
Pope Francis came out the other day, and I just want to, first of all, reiterate the fact
favorite Pope ever.
He's, justifiably venerated as a figurehead.
Venerated. I think our viewers want to know what that means.
Respected.
I know, but you know what that means.
Yeah, venerated.
Let's see it on the bottom.
Okay. Anyway, he came out. Sorry, I have to pause.
Oh my goodness. Is it a wipey? Pet, back in.
Pope Francis.
Look at this.
Came
out. Look at the burns from the dermatologist.
This is like the third show in a row that you've recommended. I'm glad that they're healing. You better put
two. We did Tuesday. Maybe it is. No, it's Friday and today.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I guess.
The Pontiff has heartfelt concerns for our suffering planet. The world in which we live in is collapsing. And as we all know, they get involved with social, and
It is
politics around the
because
world,
the secular
and everything else.
nature of society right now, and not because of what he thinks. Go ahead.
Right, but it's interesting because he's out there and he's pontificating and giving his opinion on things, and sometimes people agree with him and sometimes they don't, and all this, and here he is talking about climate change, and obviously he's got kind of a group around him. George, are you drifting off?
I'm getting ready to pop.
Something was distracting you. Anyway, the point is that I always kind of feel like there's a little bit of like politics involved in the sense of what's going to be a touchstone for like the masses out there when he comes out with this stuff. And the reason I say that is because he throws the United States under the bus.
Then how did he do that? Because you had mentioned that.
Well, he talked about the irresponsible, quote unquote, we have a climate emergency because the United States has an irresponsible lifestyle of its citizens. And I just thought that was really, because he talks about how the United States are about 2 times greater than those of individuals living in China, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the truth
We
of
are
the matter
privileged.
is,
I'll give him that.
we are privileged, and we are more per capita than China. Per capita is the critical sum, notation there, because we're actually about 1.5 times that of China.
And China's 5 times our size, but has 10 times our people. Is something like that? Something crazy? Probably. I have no idea. But I was just going off the cuff.
Right, but China's emissions levels are significantly higher than the global average. So while you're picking on the United States is a target when it comes to all these things. I mean, we're everybody's big bad wolf.
Yeah, big bad capitalist wolf, colonialist,
and that kind of thing. So, but in reality, when you talk about the aggregate, China's emissions are more than double that of the United States, and America's air is among the cleanest of any nation because of the protocols we have in place. And that's one thing that we always act like we're the worst offenders of climate change, and we're not.
I don't act that way. I mean,
I'm looking at you because...
I don't, because why? I mean, I'm thinking we've cut our carbon footprint is like lower than it was in 1960.
Well, that's right. Yes, that's right. That's right.
I mean,
so
these people just are ignorant. It's like you ask the Pope, the pontiff, what was it? What do you call him?
Pontiff.
The pontiff. You ask him how much carbon dioxide is in the atmosphere right now. He wouldn't know. You ask him about the global warming hockey stick graph. He wouldn't know. He doesn't know shit about it, and he's just, well, he might. And God, I'm sorry if I'm making fun of your guy, your top in line, but he's talking a bunch of shit.
Well, remember, and it's Catholic dogma.
He's right there.
We're not going to get it right now that elevates the Pope over
He's human.
Anybody, he's a human being, and he has foibles theoretically. Now, I have utmost respect for anybody who gives their life to the Church, and is in a positive, well-meaning manner.
100%.
Whether it's Protestant, Catholic, whatever, doesn't matter. But the point is that these guys are sacrificing and they are giving back as.
Well, they feel their calling, and it satiates their calling, which is great, as long as their calling is in line with the Bible.
Well, yeah. Well, twofold. One is like, let's get our facts straight when it comes to climate change and really how much of
we need to have a special climate change episode.
We're going to, because I just saw something, because you talked about CO2, and we're going to talk about that later this week. But the point, or next week, is that everyone likes to come out and just like point their finger at the United States about we're like the biggest troublemakers on the face of the planet. And it's like, dude, we're like the harbingers of like clean energy in this country. We're trying to do what's smart. Now, we should do it a little bit slower, a little bit take our time with it, a little bit more understanding of it all.
All you got to do is just say, hey, we'll give you tax breaks, all you corporations and energy companies. This is how they brought it down in the first place. Mm-hmm. Keep it a capitalist country. We'll give you tax breaks if you can bring down your emissions. Oh, my God. The emissions are going down. You don't need it. You don't need EPA. You don't need shit. You just need to we'll give you tax breaks for doing that. Bam! They're going to do it across the board. The government wouldn't do it because they don't give crap about that. But private enterprise, bam, they'll do it.
Yeah, bam! I think
I'm Emerald.
You're
Emerald.
You're good at that. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to button up because we've gone a little bit long here is it.
We're supposed to be 20, right? Is that it? 20 minutes is our goal? 20
is our target. Is it, Jerry Seinfeld had a commencement speech, was a speaker at, what was it, Duke, I think it was?
Harvard.
Yeah, Duke.
Or Harvard.
It was at Duke. At Duke University. And a bunch of students walked out. And in the headlines, you saw like, a bunch of students walk out from Jerry Seinfeld because he's a big supporter of Israel and all this kind of thing. And my boy, who I only agree with really one thing about him right now, and that is his support of Israel, comes out.
Oh, your boy Fetterman.
Fetterman again comes out and calls the media to the carpet and says only 30 out of 7,000 students, 70,000 students walked out.
7,000 students.
Sorry. That's 0.43%. Why does the media habitually platform this fringe? Guaranteed coverage is the nicotine to the pup tent campus intifada, and Hamas salutes them all. That's the point. Is like we put all these people up, you know, on the top of the
Any of those with student visas, bye-bye.
Yeah, it's like the gal at Columbia who went up there and probably for likes on Instagram or TikTok.
Oh, ripped up her diploma?
I mean, what does this solve? What does this prove? Because it's like what's really? It's like, okay, that's it.
And do you get a copy of it later or something or not?
I'm throwing in the towel. They won.
I don't know because I didn't ever get a diploma, but Tim did. Can you get a copy if you lose it? I'm sure you can get a copy. So it's just all theatrics. I don't think they should give her one.
That's all. Of course, it's all theatrics.
But I don't think they should give them one.
Okay, rescind it in some capacity.
George, go talk to the university.
No, go. They're right there.
Shoo.
They're very eager to hear your opinion, I'm sure.
All right, man.
That's it.
If we get any more famous, they won't be.
All right.
If we get famous at all, it won't be, or notoriety. Okay.
Yeah, notoriety.
Thank you so much for checking. Like us, please, if you will. Tell your friends.
And don't forget to wash your
be
phone.
the party.
Clean your phone once in a while.
Clean your phone once in a while?
Yeah. I think my wife cleans hers like every day. And I clean mine like once when, Harvest Moon comes along.
Me too. It's like I'll clean it when I can't read it.
But sometimes I look at it, I'm like, I don't know what's crawling all over that thing.
Right? And empty your apps. Like close your apps.
Well, that's 101, isn't it?
Dude, the other day I was doing it and there had to be 45 apps open.
Because you're like a boomer too. Okay.
That's me, Gen Z boomer.
Well, at least now what I like is that they came out with two classes of boomers, because the original class of boomers was so
Was
big.
this a second button up that we just led right into?
Well, I was glad there's a Boomers 1 and a Boomers 2, which is called Generation
Send that
Jones.
to me. Well, I'll see that.
I'll send it to you. I'll bring it up. But anyway, it's interesting to see all of these different classifications of it. Just vote your conscience, study the things. Don't listen to celebrities. You know our rules here.
Unless it's Lawrence Taylor.
Unless it's Lawrence Taylor. Have a good day.